Hey, what's up, guys? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Hope you're having a great evening as I do this video here. So, we have an upcoming, very important auction. It's actually on Heritage Auctions, and I wanted to take some time to go through and pull out of this upcoming currency auction some of the best, most desirable fancy serial numbers. Crazy as it seems to some people who I will not name, but there are a few individuals that feel like that there is absolutely no market for these notes. And I'm going to serve up on a friggin' platter for those people a few notes that are going to be coming up for sale in January to kick off the beginning of the year. There's a pretty substantial show that a lot of people participate in, after they're done with the holidays or they're done with Christmas and New Year's. And that's the Fun Show in Florida. Usually it takes place in Orlando. It's one of the biggest shows all throughout the year and one of the biggest ones, bar none, on the East Coast. So if you're looking for a very impactful show, you want to get your numismatics started for the year, the Florida Fun Show probably should be ahead of your list. All right. So as you guys know, I like to do these fancy serial number kind of like reporting videos. I haven't officially termed it as being a market report video, although I should, but it just seems way too wordy, and I don't want to continue to do that. Considering that I have the PCMR, I have the MMR, I'm just going to keep it kind of casual when I talk about those. But every time I do these type of videos, there's always that kind of like two or three people that come out, wearing their tinfoil hats saying that, yeah, there's no real market for these. I don't know why people are spending the kind of money that they are on these notes. Now, fancy serial numbers has been around for a while. Since the turn of the century, it's gained in more popularity because of, just a sudden kind of like change in interest. A lot of people who were coin collectors and they wanted to dive into something different, or if they're already into paper money collecting and they wanted to branch out into an area where there's a lot of growth, then fancy serial numbers is definitely the way to go. You could add that into just regular paper money type collections. You could add them up there to paper money errors. Fancy serial numbers now officially has its own kind of subset or whatever you want to call it, where there's like a dedicated group of people that's beginning to collect these. So I figured it's time, like, hey, okay, let's see where the rubber meets the road in all of this, so that way I don't sound stupid when I continue to do these videos. Because obviously, the results speak for themselves. There are thousands of listings that are put up every week with fancy serial numbers, okay? And there's a fair amount of sales to help back up and support this market. So in this particular case, we're going to look at some of the top echelon fancy serial numbers that should really be at the top of your list. If you were going to hunt through straps of dollar bills, twos, fives, tens, whatever the case may be, sorry, my camera is all wigging out for whatever reason, you might also keep in mind that the best of the best are going to be the notes that you see here. Now, normally 99% of the time, you wouldn't grade a lot of these notes anyways, but these represent the top 10 notes that, no doubt about it, whether it's a perfect, crisp, uncirculated piece, or one that has seen a few cash registers, been folded up a few times, put in a wallet, these notes kind of represent the best kind of crop, the top tier, so to speak, of pieces that deserve a graded holder. Now, grading's not for everyone. Me personally, I would rather have the notes raw in my collection. I keep a little bit of money in my pocket, and they'll still be worth quite a bit of money. But when you're consigning to these big auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, great collections. They're going to grade it anyways. So that's what you're going to get. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. There's a lot of neat stuff here to take a look at. And we're going to start it off with this bad boy. This thing is just incredibly awesome. This is a 2003A $100 bill. PMG graded 65 Gem Unk with EPQ. The EPQ is a paper designation that exhibits great quality. And that's generally the crispiness of the paper. It's it's held up, and either it's held up really well over a little bit of usage and circulation wear, or it's never been used at all. It came out of a BEP pack the way it was, and it's just a really beautiful piece of paper with the original thickness. And if you've ever pulled out a brand spanking new dollar bill out of a BEP pack, they have kind of like the thickness that sometimes a lot of us don't appreciate as much compared to some of the notes that have been ran through the ringer, been through a few thousand hands at this point, and then given to you, and it's like a wet, soggy mop in your hands. But this one right here, this is one of my favorites. It's it's kind of crazy because PMG denotes binary, which it is. It's actually a true binary. It's zeros and ones. A binary in the fancy serial number word is generally any two numbers in a serial number, and that's it. It can be 5s and 6s, it can be 2s and 9s, in this case, 0s and 1s. 0s and 1s are true binaries, and that's what they are. Any other type is a non-traditional binary. It's a radar palindrome, so the first four numbers read a certain way, and then it's mirrored to complete the last four digits of a eight number serial number. And strangely enough, they term this one as rotator, also known as a flipper. All right, so when you turn the note upside down, it still reads the same way. Although ones and eights, I really don't consider rotator type numbers because they have a different type style to them. They have a wide foot to the one, and then they have a flag that points to the left to complete the look of the digit. If it was just a stick as a number one, then yeah, I would say it's a rotator. But when you turn that around, it looks more like a letter T or a letter J, that has like a sharp bottom to the right, turn right there. So this one is undoubtedly cool, for a number of reasons. This is one that's going to be sought after. If I were going to put some sort of dollar figure on this, $750 maybe, somewhere around there in this condition. It could always go a little bit higher, possibly hit that $1,000 mark. I know true binaries have an incredible market today. But things like this, where you have different types of fancy serial number archetypes that are combined together in one serial number, is simply awesome. Probably the only other one that would kind of beat this one out is the one that says 1001, 1001. It'll be a true binary, a radar, and a repeater. And I think those three together on this type of note where you have zeros and ones is a little bit more meaningful to the marketplace. The note's pretty beautiful. I love these non-colorized big head notes. Always been a favorite of mine. Next one that we have here, of course, anything with solid of any one digit. My goodness. I mean, is there really anything else that we need to say about these type of notes? These things certainly speak for themselves. I know based off of experience and just being kind of like the little birdie in the room, I guess, that these things sell just as easily graded or ungraded. I've seen my fair share of these sell on the secondary market through like eBay. Raw, which is another term for ungraded. And, they all tend to sell for about $800 to $1,000. Especially one like this. Now, the higher the condition goes, that's where the overall kind of price kind of creeps up a lot more. You know, if I'm telling you $800 to $1,000, and this note right here with the same grade as a $100 bill that we just looked at, you might be talking about $1,500 to $2,000, and that's kind of like that discrepancy, that variance in price when grading is involved. But for the most part, when we're collecting fancy serial numbers, sometimes the grade doesn't matter too much. The only exception is maybe if the note is torn, you know, at the top margin, or if there's a tear in the middle of the note, or stains that are glaring, that detract from the appeal of the serial number. Those are things that'll obviously work against the marketability of these type of notes. So very fine 30. I mean, this thing has seen the light of day. It's hard to believe that possibly, you know, maybe 100 people have touched this note, have folded it, put it in their wallet, put it in their purse, scrunched it up, put it in their pocket. You know, you just never know where these have been. Now, this looks more like it's been folded a few times and put into a wallet or a billfold or whatever. It's even more evident on the reverse, you know, where it was folded, and then one side of it had a little bit more soiling than the other. But even still, a note of this caliber, yeah, we're still looking in at $800 to $1,000 kind of level. It's all sevens too. It's one of the most popularly collected singular digits in fancy serial numbers. Okay, and with pretty good reason. It's a good luck number to a lot of people. You know, that's why slot machines have triple sevens as being one of the big jackpots. You know, and same thing goes here, and that's kind of like the correlation between the two, and that's why this note's going to do extremely well here in this sale. Here's another one here. $20 bill. This one's a 2017A. This one's graded, however, by PCGS Banknote. Another solid serial number, all fives this time. Not the best number, but a much better grade. 63 PPQ is pretty good. I would say this thing was probably pulled out of a bank strap. You know, it might not have the best margins, and it doesn't. You know, there's a little bit thicker margin on the top and to the right. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's a good looking note, but it's you know, it might have like a not a fold, but a little bit of maybe a crease or a crinkle in there, which will, you know, which will still keep it in uncirculated grades, but just toward the low end of that spectrum. So all fives. Fives, not the best number, but still going to sell. And I would say that this note is probably going to still stay somewhere in that $800 to $1,000 range. The all sevens variety that we just looked at would sell for more money in this grade because of that significance of that particular number. So I'm excited to see where this one sells. Surprisingly, all fives, I've seen solid fives sell really good. I've seen some of them underperform. So this is just going to be a wait and see type moment here. Here's another good one too. 1981 $1 bill. Solid ones. Okay, so what's my stance on solid ones? It's okay. In my estimation, this is probably mid-range as far as the collectability scale goes. For numbers, because you know true binaries are zeros and ones, and those two numbers in tandem on a serial number is highly collectible and very expensive. So I don't see any reason why straight ones here would sell as good too. Probably would sell a lot better than the $20 bill we just looked at. You know, I'm thinking maybe about $1,000 and up. You know, $1,000, $1,100, $1,200 for this note, based off of recent comps. So, you know, I'm excited to see this one as well. It's another 63 grade with an EPQ designation for great paper quality. And yeah, I mean, no problem. This one was in a collection, the Mel Wilmore collection. Not really familiar with Mr. Wilmore, but I'm sure he had a pretty nice collection of fancies and various other small size notes too. Well, here's another solid sevens on a $100 bill, and this one definitely shows a little bit more wear and tear than the other note we looked at. Very fine 30. And this one, our first note with a net grade designation, and it says pinholes right there, which means that I probably see the hole right there, but maybe perhaps someone stuck a little pin into this note up on a cork board or something, which people do, to pay invoices and to show that it's been paid and all that stuff. It's something that used to exist a lot more back in the 40s and 50s. They don't really do it as much these days. There's a reason why there's pinholes in this note. All right. So, and again, that's something you don't see on newer notes. This one, this particular note in this condition, even though it's a $100 bill, it's gonna keep it away from the $1,000 mark, in my opinion. This one might be in that $800 level. Still a great amount of money, for something that came right out of circulation. And again, it just blows my mind how many hands this one has passed through on its way to ultimately being saved. Because I'm sure there's been a few of these that have gone through the ringer and then got destroyed once the bank grabbed hold of it because they just looked too rough. Our first big banging grade of the show here. Solid threes on this $5 bill, 2013. PMG assigned a 67 grade. That's superb gem uncirculated EPQ with a star. So the star in paper money kind of collecting, I believe, is eye appeal. Like superb margins, like the vivid factor of the inks just pops a lot more on this note, and the serial number with all the threes. You put all of these things together, you just have a really well presented note. I would say this one right here, it probably would be $1,200 plus. I think a lot of that has to do with the grade here on this one. Threes, not really a popular number, but because they were solids, it's a 67 grade with the star and EPQ. I don't see why this one doesn't hit like $1,200 to $1,500. One of the bigger notes of this sale to kind of keep an eye out on. That's for sure. If anything, you guys are going to track these, and that's what's important. All right, so we're kind of moving away from all the solids, and we're getting to some low serial numbers here. This is serial number 2. All right, low serial numbers of any capacity under 10. Huge. These notes are not cheap. They generally sell north of $500 on a regular basis. And this one right here, I have no doubt it's going to be $1,000 plus, even in this 63 grade. Nice note, too. Very attractive. 1976 date, so it's got the bicentennial thing happening. But pretty cool. I like this one. This is one of my favorites here. I would imagine that it's only bested by serial number 1. That's a no-brainer, right? And someone even pointed out, serial number 1 is also a true binary. I'm like, yeah, it is. But I think the fact that it's serial number 1 has a lot more of a place in the relevancy of it all. There you go. Serial number 1. We are bound to get there. There's going to be one for the Florida Fund sale on Heritage on this beautiful $100 bill. Nice grade, too. 66 Gem Unk EPQ. What else do we need to say here? This is just a bomb. And this is easily going to be like $2,000 to $3,000. That's such a wide range, I know. Because honestly, it could fall on the lower end of the spectrum, or it could fall a lot higher, closer to that $3,000 mark. He might even blow past that. I'm not sure. But serial number 1 in the currency world, even before fancy serial numbers became a thing, is simply incredible. It has a lot of relevancy. People want the very first note with the very first stamping of a 1 on there. And yeah, people tend to pay a ridiculous amount of money to be an owner of such notes. So this is going to be one to watch out for. I might be undershooting my estimate, to be honest with you. Again, my estimates are simply based on previous sales figures, either through Heritage, through eBay, and in various other channels like that. So don't take what I have as being like financial advice because, I could be completely off. This thing can flame out and sell for $1,200. I don't know. Here's a trio set. This one's really cool. It's a trio of consecutive $20 bills, all coming out of the same BEP pack, and they all grade 58, which indicates that they have maybe a little slight bent corner or something to that effect. But we have solid twos except for a one. We have the all solid twos note, and then solid twos with a three at the end. So 2 7 in a rows and one solid twos, 8 twos on there. They all grade the same. That's phenomenal. I mean, this one surprisingly is going to sell for a lot more than you guys and I think. This one, I elected to not put an estimate on this one, simply because I know how much the notes sell for individually as far as ballpark, but these are consecutive. You're owning the set of these, probably the three most relevant notes, because you have the main one with the solid twos, and then the one before and the one after, So kind of crazy. If this sold for like 2-3 grand, I wouldn't shake my head at it. I'd say, yeah, that's about right. But we'll see. That's going to be one to look out for. And then finally, I threw a kind of like a little curveball in here. This is an error note with a doubled overprint. And be careful. If you stare at this too long, you are going to go blind, like I did. But there you go. The overprint tapped twice on there. Don't know what happened. That's kind of crazy looking. But that's what happens when I don't put my contacts in the morning. That's kind of like what everything looks like. So yeah, I figure I'd show you guys this one. Very nice, high graded error note. I have no doubt that this one's gonna be probably the big one out of the 10 notes I showed you. The last double or triple print that I've seen sold for like 5 grand or something. They're just, oh man, there are just ridiculous prices on these, and there's a love affair for these based off of how wildly crazy the look of these notes are. So yeah, there you go. That's kind of like my I guess top 10 picks coming up at the Florida Fun Show. And it gives you guys a real idea. This represents, okay, I'm gonna get off this note because I'm like, I have double vision right now. These notes best represent some of the best finds that you can find in fancy serial numbers. However, it doesn't even come remotely close as what to the most valuable coins are going to be, to what the most valuable other paper money types are, large size notes, old stuff. This is still a growing aspect of numismatics. All right. So, when we hear something, a fancy ladder serial number on the silver certificate sell for over 10 grand, oh, yeah, that's great. That's a lot of money. But it comes nowhere near close to what some of like the US type coins go for, or other different paper money go for, like an old $14,000 bill or something like that sells for like 50 grand, there's still a lot of room of growth here, but there is also a lot of money to be made if you want to go and search for these things. And of course, every single note that I showed you, they're all grade worthy. So please do invest the money to grade these. It'll help you sell the notes quicker, easier. Auction houses will gladly take your consignment on these. No questions asked because they're already graded. But yeah, that's it on these ones. So I hope you guys had fun. All right. I'm starting to go out there. I'm starting to look through notes. I'm also buying notes as well from viewers in the secondary market. So that's been a lot of fun. Quick little note, I will have a Whatnot stream on tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll have my referral link down below. If you haven't joined up already and you wanted to at least know what it's all about, use the referral link, grab yourself $15 in usable store credit. You can essentially buy something for free because it does pay for shipping as well. But yeah, come join us. Me and my wife are going to be on there. I'm going to be doing the selling. And she's helped me on the back end with doing some of the inventorying and stock numbering of these items. So, yeah, it's been fun. So, hope to see you guys there. All the new folks, come on down. Don't be shy or bashful. It's a fun platform to buy from, for sure. So that's it. I'm out of here. You guys have a wonderful night. Keep on collecting, my friends. Enjoy fancy serial numbers. And I'll see you on the next video. So long.